Hi, this is Bill Pittman, and I'm here with Corey Shakel from Sound Payments. Sound Payments is a PAX technology partner. And first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for attending in this webinar. What we're going to do is Sound Payments creates technology with PAX hardware. So what we do is we take their hardware and we add software to it and create a solution. We do that in a couple of different verticals, from banking to point of sale to petroleum solutions. What we're going to talk about today is our solution in the petroleum solutions. We're going to talk about the opportunities and the benefits associated with our solution. What's driving a lot of this is the EMV mandate, where these stations have to upgrade their systems to support EMV or they take on the liability. So with that, a station has a couple of different options. Number one, they could buy a new pump, and we'll talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages with doing that. The other option they could do is buy a retrofit kit from their existing pump manufacturer. And we'll talk about that as an option as well. They could also buy a brand new pump that doesn't support payments and add a retrofit kit like ours to it to enable it to support payments. The reason why they would do that is a pump that doesn't support payments is about half the cost of a regular pump. And really the last option we're going to spend most of our time talking about is upgrading their existing pumps with a retrofit kit solution like ours. So with that, we'll go on to who we are. So Sound Payments is really a technology company. We work in a couple of different verticals. We've been working with PAX for a number of years. We recognized that there was going to be this opportunity in the petroleum space a few years ago. So we created this solution. We've been working on it about 3 years. We've been selling it now for about a year. So there's a mandate that's coming out in 2021 that these pumps need to support EMV. So that's what we've been working towards. We've created a really first-class product that consists both of hardware, software, and support services. And then we also partnered with a number of industry leaders in both distribution as well as creating solutions that enhance our product. For example, retrofit kits. I want to make sure everyone understands we are not an ISO, we're not a gateway, and we're not a processor. So we're not a competitor to you. So what's driving this is really this EMV mandate, where they need to upgrade to support EMV, or they're going to take on the liability shift. And a couple of these guys are very similar to the retail industry, what happened a few years ago, where they think, oh, I don't have any fraud today, I don't need to upgrade to support EMV. But what happens is the bad guys that are out there recognize and find the places that don't support EMV, and then they start targeting. So if you didn't have your system upgraded to support EMV previously, you may start getting a lot of fraud down the road. And then since April is not that far away, which is when the mandate comes into place, the sooner you start, the better, because there's going to be a mass number of people that are trying to upgrade at April. And then once they start getting chargebacks, they're all then going to be scrambling to get it done. And you'll see that petroleum is a little more complicated than retail. And so it takes a while to get the solution implemented. So the sooner that you can get people to start, the better. What we've done is we've created a really cost-effective solution that you'll see is 1/2 to 1/3 the cost of the other options that are out there. It's easy to integrate, and it works with virtually all the major dispensers that are out there. It supports EMV, magstripe, contactless payments right at the pump. It has a simple implementation to reduce the cost associated with the upgrade, and we'll go into detail about that as well. It's a secure, semi-integrated solution. It uses the same technology that PAX uses for a lot of their semi-integrated solutions, makes it very secure. It's PCI certified, and it's encrypted from end to end, meaning that when this minute that they insert the card, it gets encrypted, and the data then flows through, and even if anyone got a hold of that data, it would be useless to them. The other thing is that the device that's going inside the pump is an actual payment terminal, and that makes it PCI tamper resistant. So in the past, a lot of people have gone in and sniffed off the data associated with the pump. With our solution, if you try to go in there and mess with that device, since it's PCI tamper resistant, it'll brick and stop working. So it gets rid of that. So you'll see that our solution is the most secure solution that's out there. And then the other thing is, since the device is a payment terminal, it's the piece that's certified with the payment processor, so that if things change in the background, then you don't have to worry about managing ongoing certifications. So let's talk about how petroleum is done today. First of all, the device that lives in the pump on the left-hand side there is actually an input device. So you put your card in, it takes that data and it then sends it to the forecourt controller. What the forecourt controller does, it has a payment application that goes to the payment processor, and it also's job is to turn the pumps on and off. And so the problem with this approach is the data that's traveling to the forecourt controller could be encrypted or unencrypted. It brings the controller into scope from PCI concerns, and then it's going to the processor. So since the certification is happening on the forecourt controller, if something changes at the pump or the forecourt controller changes, you've got to redo a certification. Also has a single point of failure because everything's going through the forecourt controller. Puts the whole station in PCI scope for an audit, and it requires extensive PCI certifications to maintain its compliance. Its EMV payment certification is required for the pump and everything involved in it. And so that, like I said, if something changes, then they have to redo a certification. So that's how petroleum is done today. And it's how most of the new people are doing petroleum in the future. So that's the traditional way of doing things. What we've done is we've created a solution that's completely unique and no one else is doing it like this. And so the device that lives in the pump is actually a payment terminal. So like I said, it's tamper resistant. It uses Wi-Fi to communicate, and it does end-to-end encryption. So the data is encrypted at the time of entry. That data then flows directly to the payment processor. It's not going to the forecourt. It goes to the payment processor, gets the authorization. Then the payment processor comes back and says the card's authorized. It then goes and communicates with a product that we'll talk about called the bridge. And it's once again running on another PAX device called the A80. The bridge then can talk to multiple forecourt controllers and turn the pumps on, get the information on how much gas was actually pumped. Then it brings that back to the payment terminal. The payment terminal then goes into the processor and completes the transaction. So it's a completely different approach than the traditional way that people are doing things. We also have the ability to work with an in-store system because we've got APIs so that they can drive the same solution with us as a completely integrated solution. And then we also stick all the data up in the cloud for reporting and configuration information. So you'll see that that's a completely different approach than everyone else has taken. Uses the advantages of semi-integration of the PAX device. So the benefits to our solution is there's no PCI data traveling from the pump into the in-store systems. So you don't have to worry about the PCI security systems. The EMV certification is encapsulated onto the device itself, so that if something else changes in the back end, you don't have to recertify. It does a direct-to-processor transaction, so that there's no single point of failure because each one of these devices talks to the processor directly. And also, there's no gateways or anything like that involved as well. So it's the cheapest way to get the transactions done. Because all the information is stored in the cloud, we also have reporting information and an API to get that information out. This approach also makes it easy to add enhancements down the road without having to recertify. And we work with multiple forecourt controllers, so it's a universal solution. So like I said, as we put all the data up in the cloud gives you a way, it's a portal basically where a reseller can go and set up and configure different stations. Then there's also a station portal where they can go in and look at the information that's happening at all their stations or just one station. So it gives them a consolidated report of how everything's going on. It doesn't have any sensitive data out in the cloud, so you don't have to worry about PCI. And you can easily add new services with this, but due to the API that we have in the cloud. So as the station goes to upgrade their system, there's a number of things that they need to take into consideration: the price, the system, and the installation. So with regards to price, equipment cost becomes critical. And then the construction costs. If you're going to be adding brand new pumps, you're going to have to go in and pull out the old pumps, buy new pumps, and then have the construction cost of implementing them. This is also going to take time. It's going to take about a month on average for the average station, so that they're going to have downtime. They're not going to, the whole station's going to be down. You're going to have lost business. There's going to be nothing going on. So there's a huge cost associated with the revenue that you're going to lose during that time. And then there may be need to replace other systems to make everything work. With our solution, what we do is we retrofit your existing system so that you don't have to buy new pumps, and you can use your existing software, you can use your existing forecourt controller. Our solution also is the most secure system out there, reduces the PCI scope, and removes data from going through the in-store system and all the PCI security requirements and audits that you would have to do. And it brings, you don't have to bring the tanks and equipment up to new code requirements. If you go in and put new pumps in, you may have to go in and upgrade your tanks and everything else to go along with it to work with it. You don't have to do that with our approach. Also on the installation, we do everything on a pump by pump basis. So it takes hours to do an average pump of ours. It takes 1 hour to do an average pump. With other systems, it could take weeks or months to do the implementation. We give you the ability to phase in that upgrade by individual pump. So you could actually even just do one pump, upgrade it, make sure everything works fine, and then upgrade the rest of your pumps. If there was any issues with it, you decided this wasn't the right solution, you could always roll back that solution. If you go in with other solutions, you can't do that. Once you make that commitment, you're stuck with that commitment, and there's nothing that you can do about it. With our approach, we give you the benefits of being able to try before you buy, and then implement them one pump at a time. So you don't have to take your station down. You don't have to go in and shut everything down and do it. You can keep everything operating as normal and just upgrade one pump at a time. It takes about a half hour per side, so maybe 1 hour per pump. So it's a much quick, easy, simple solution to implement. So if we look at some of the costs of upgrading right now, you can get a brand new system. On average, it costs about $15,000 per pump to put in a brand new system. And that's just the hardware cost. Remember, you also get that downtime that you have to eat. Otherwise, the other option is you can get the retrofit solutions from some of the pump manufacturers. There's problems associated with that. First of all, they're more expensive than our solution, you'll see. Second of all, they only work with certain pumps, and you have to keep the whole system from your pump manufacturer there, so that it's a very locked-in solution and a locked-in approach. The other thing is that the pump manufacturers really want you to buy new pumps, so they make them more expensive, and then they only make them work with their latest pumps. So there's a limited pumps that they work with. With our solution, first of all, it's a much less cost solution, and then we work with virtually all the pumps that are out there. We work with the different four-port controllers, so you can keep your existing systems in place. So here's the device that we're using. It's the PAXCON IM20 device. It supports Wi-Fi. It has pen on glass, so it actually has a glass keyboard that you can come up so you can enter the zip code or whatever you needed to do. It supports contactless. So it's a very well-constructed device that was designed specifically to be in the pumps outside. And so it's weatherproof, it's hardened, and it supports all the different features that you would need, all in one easy, compact solution. It's also been designed to try to work with most pumps. The footprint where you put it into the pump is the same size as the previous scanners that they used to have. So we'll go through some detail about what it takes to do the installation, but you'll see how easy it is to put this into your pumps. The other piece that we have is the bridge. And if you remember back at that diagram I had, the bridge really is the component that talks to the different four-port controllers. So it's running on a PAX device as well. The reason why we did that is so that you have one place to go in and manage and support all your different devices. So you can go to the PAX store, you can do the configuration for both the IM20s as well as the bridge, all from one single point. So that's why we chose to put it on the A80. And then it also has some backup capabilities where you can do printing and things like that. So it's a well-designed device that'll work with the different forecourts, work with our IM20s, and support that solution. The other thing that we offer at Sound is something we call the Sound Hub, and it's really a reseller portal for you. It gives you all the support information that you need, gives you a knowledge base for training, order entry and billing, and social media for questions and answers. So here's an example of logging in. As a reseller, you would get this access to the Sound Hub. It has the user guides and manuals, knowledge base, and FAQs that you would need. So it gives you one single place that you can go to. And then if you look on the right-hand side, you can add a ticket. So that if you ever have any questions or issues, you can go in there and create a ticket. We'll get back to you and answer your questions. And that way it gives you one place to go to get all the information that you need, as well as get any questions answered. The other thing that you can do in the Sound Hub is order equipment. So you can go in and order this equipment. You don't have to do double entry. You don't have to make a phone call. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can go into this one portal right here and go and order the equipment that you need right there online. And so this is an example of some of the different pumps that we work with, and we'll go into detail now. Corey will, with all the different implementations and how you would do it with these different pumps. So with that, I'll hand this over to Corey.
Thank you, Bill. All right, so as Bill has mentioned, we do have a very easy to install device here. Multiple options whenever it comes to the installation. This first one I'm going to go through here is just sort of a make it work option rather than our kit option. So with this option, as you're seeing here in the pictures, this is on a Bennett pump, which we do not have a retrofit kit for. So it's just an installation of our device directly onto the pump. Basically, you just go in, you remove the old card reader. We have a little template that you can put in place that card reader to blank out the spot. Step 2 here, I'd remove the pin pad that originally controlled their card reader, and that's where I placed our device, and had a bracket for the back side of our device to mount that device in there. It was an easy mount, 4 screws out on the old pin pad and 4 screws in on the new one, and our device was mounted on there. On to the next slide, Bill. All right, as you can see here on the outside, and we actually skipped pictures over to a non-kitted Encore 500, but still the same style of installation where you put a template over the card reader, and then there's a knockout slot on these pumps for what would have been a tap pay that our device fits right into, and you can remove that tap pay and slide our device in. And then for the original pin pad, we have covers that go over those that take those out of play. On to the next. All right, here's a little better look of more of a kit style. So as I was saying before, the other device was a non-kitted. This would be more of a kit style for a Gilbarco Encore 500S. The kit replaces the whole panel that houses the screen, the keypad, and the original card reader. So with this, it's about 12 screws that you come out with, and it removes that entire panel. And then the new panel pops into the exact same slot, and 12 screws, your original 12 screws can go right back in there. All right, on to the next. The Advantage, this is another one that we can do a kit with. So with the doors there on the left-hand side, those are held in place by a single bar that once you open the door, you can pull the bar out. The whole door comes off of that top left panel, and then you can put our kit on there, which will have a printer mounted to it, as well as the IM20 mounted to it, and it slides in there and plugs into the existing boards that's inside there. On to the next. This is a Gilbarco Advantage that they did not want to do the kit with. They wanted to leave the original screen in place so they could do advertising. So basically we took the right-hand door, cut a hole in it, and then used our bracket that comes with our device to mount the IM20 onto the right-hand door. On to the next. All right, so go through these fuel pumps a little more quickly. The first one, Tokheim, we do not have a kit for it. So very similar to that last Advantage we looked at. You basically remove the old card reader, and our card reader fits into that existing slot, and then you can use our bracket that comes with the device to mount that on there. Second one was a Wayne Ovation, which we did not kit as well. It basically removed the it did not have an existing card reader. We removed the screen and then bracketed our device onto the existing screen cutout. A lot of the times with the Ovations, though, whenever they do have the card readers, we can actually just remove that card reader and plug our card reader right into the existing slot with our existing bracket. The third one, the Wayne Helix. As Bill said earlier in the presentation, one of the options is to buy a new fuel pump and buy it without a card reader. So that's exactly what this Wayne Helix picture is. It is a brand new Wayne Helix. I believe the company saved about $4,000 without buying the original card readers that go in those. And then they placed ours into it, and we have just a little kit that simply slides into a open space on there. So those Helixes, when they come without card readers, have a open slot right through the middle of the pump where our device is sitting in the picture. The door folds up. You place that panel in there and fold the door back down on it, and it latches onto it, and it's in place. And then the last one is a Encore 300. This is one of our kit options, very similar to the Advantage, where that door swings out and there's a bar that holds it in place. You can remove that bar and place the whole kit option back in there and shut it back, and you are installed. All right, on to the next. All right, this Herb, I believe we have video here to play for a sample of it. So as I'd said before, the Ovation, there is an option if there was an existing card reader there, we could just pop that card reader out and put our device in. As you can see here, I was able to do that with this one. And then once the installation is complete, it's a very simplified, easy to use device. All the promptings there on the device itself. It originally prompted me, is this a debit card? I said yes. I typed in my PIN number, and then it said begin fueling on the screen. All right, on to the next.
Hello everyone, I'm here at Pump and Munch in Pampa, Texas, doing an EMV upgrade with the Sound Payments EMV Easy Pump. And so I figured I'd just give you a look in from the inside pump of what the install looks like. I will be installing on these nice little Bennett pumps here. Just takes a few minutes to go through the full installation, top to bottom. All the card readers came out pre-configured, so let's get started. Okay, you are now inside the pump. So step one in this process, we're going to remove the old card reader and the old pin pad. Card reader now removed. The cabling has been removed to both those items as well. All right, now that all that is removed, all cabling is in its original position. We have pre-cut, pre-configured applications to go into the spots of the old. So we'll start with the card reader. It is just a blank template just to fill in the space of where the old card reader was at. Very easy installation. We'll just stick it in place, use the old bracket. We'll use the old nuts that were on there. Next, we will mount back in the mounting bracket for the IM20, the EMV Easy Pump, and this will also go into place of where the original pin pad was at. Once again, we will go back in with the original nuts that were on here. we send out the IM20 pre-configured to your site. Already has the Wi-Fi information on there, so no configuration needed that site. And then a mounting bracket for the back of it. So let's get these mounted on. Power cable. As you can see, the IM20 is now mounted on here. Plug it in. Close up my pump. And there you have it. Mounted, installed IM20 with the EMV Easy Pump. Next, power on the pump. All right, now that we're done with our installation, let's go ahead and try running the transaction. Transaction successful. Starting up the pump. Go ahead and lift my handle here. Stick it in the tank. Push the start button. And off to fueling we go. And as you can see here, you can go ahead and scan for digital receipt at any point during the transaction. So once the transaction is complete, you can go to the link provided there and it will show you your digital receipt. Otherwise, I will go ahead and hang this pump up. And one moment, and my receipt is printing. Thank you very much.
All right, Bill, would you like to take it back over from here?
Well, what we wanted to do is make sure everyone understands that the IM20 and the product that we've got today works, and it'll work for a long time. It's a low-cost solution, but we're also working with PAX with future products. So down the road, and I want to stress it's down the road, we're going to be working with products like the Aries 8. Gives you a much bigger screen, touch screen, allows you to do other things like even buy things at the pump and then pick them up in the station, doing those kind of things. So that's the future. That's probably a year away because there's a ton of certifications and everything we have to go to get there. What we wanted to let you know is that the solution we got today with the IM20 is great, but there's also going to be other products down the road. They're just down the road. So I also wanted to say, Corey kind of went over the installation process. We're not expecting you to do that. Normally what will happen is the station will have a service person. We just wanted to show you that it's not that complicated to do. And so somebody who is a service station installer, maintainer, etc., will be able to do what Corey just did just as well. We're not expecting you to do that. What we're really thinking is that a lot of you are in the merchant services business and you've got convenience stores that you're working with. What this does is it gives you an opportunity to go to those convenience stores and see if you can help upgrade their pumps with EMV, because they've all got to do it. So if you've already got the in-store processing, you might as well get the pump processing as well. So that's really the opportunity that we're showing you. So with that, what we'd like to do now is have Q&A. So if anybody's got some questions, please send them to us and we'll get back to you as soon as we can with the answers. Thank you, everyone.